What were some of the things that you did in a very mundane way?
I did one ultramarathon at home and I did 90 kilometers in that.
Are you serious?
9,000 reps of those 10 meters, 9,000 reps. So consistency is life happens to you. Life will keep happening to you. You have to take out time and make things happen for you.
Capt Harsha, welcome to Run with Fitpage. It's our weekly show. We have been discussing for you to be on the podcast for a long while.
Very long time.
And it's worth the wait, let me tell you. And I'm very, very delighted to have you with me today.
Thank you so much. I finally feel relieved that I'm here. We have been planning for this podcast for, I believe, 3-4 months.
I know.
So finally it is happening and absolutely delighted to be here and looking forward to share whatever you're going to ask me.
No, thank you so much. Your story as a human being as well as a runner is of great inspiration to all of us. When I posted on social media that I'm going to be speaking with you, there were so many people who reached out saying, "Oh, that's him. That's Captain Harsha. We've seen him running." Rather, two people messaged me saying, "He runs so fast that's barely that we can recognize who's the person." That's the metaphor of you. So you can take it as a compliment.
Thank
how
you.
far you have come. So we'll start your introduction as to where you started from, where your childhood was academically, how you were you in the sport as well or not, and then we'll get into your running journey. Let's start from the very basic.
Okay. So I'm a Kendriya Vidyalaya product. All my schoolings have happened in KV. Most of the times have happened in Calcutta. And academically, I was very good.
Okay, awesome.
Very good. It means I was obviously in top 2, top 3 of the school. So 10-12 percentages where I topped my school in 10th, I topped my school in 12th. So that was my academic background. 10th, 11th, 12th, I was absolutely into cricket.
Okay.
I was mad for cricket.
Okay.
I represented East Zone. I played nationals cricket, represented East Zone. This was in class 11th. And 1999, I joined Navy right after my 12th.
Okay.
So I finished my 12th in April and December 99, I was into Indian Navy. I joined Navy 3.5 years of my Navy. I was totally into football.
Okay.
I was in naval engineering course. There's a technical entry into the Navy.
Right.
And so you can see that I've always been associated with sports.
Yeah.
So the training time, I was good in football. The football journey started. I used to play football earlier in school,
Okay.
but cricket took a major chunk of it.
Seat. Yeah.
Training time football, and 3 years I was in football. I got selected for Navy team also.
Okay.
So my life was about football. Then after the initial training, 2006, after completing everything, I joined a ship. And then once you're in ship, you hardly get time to run, and then your main job is focused to for the maintenance and everything in the sphere of Navy in which I am. I was focusing on that. Suddenly, one fine day, 1 January 2009, I decided I have to run.
Okay.
Because I was not getting time to play cricket, play football, and running was happening, but it was only happening in bits and pieces. It was only as part of fitness.
Yeah.
So during our training also, the running was every Sunday we used to have a cross country,
Right.
which was 12 to 14 kilometers, but then it was mainly to do with fitness. It is not running as a part of it. It is just that everybody is running so that you are fit.
Yeah.
And you are oblivious to all these things,
Yeah.
that you are physically involved in running and it is helping you to be fit, but you're not looking forward to that runs,
Right.
your Sunday runs.
Yeah.
It is a matter of routine, it is a matter of training, curriculum. It is there in the curriculum and you're doing that.
Yeah.
So that was during the training. Then running subsequently got phased out. You got sucked into the work and everything was happening. And 2009 January, I decided I had some time off in between my 2 ship appointments. I thought now is the time to go hit the roads.
Okay.
Fortunately, I was in Bombay. Roads are nice. Marine Drive is there. I started running.
That's how you started.
That's how I started taking running as a form of taking time off from the busy schedule of work to take some time for myself.
Got it.
So this journey started in Jan 2009. Jan 2010, I did my first official event, the Tata Mumbai Marathon, which was a half marathon.
Okay. So you did the half.
So my entry into event started in Jan 2010.
Do you remember your timing?
I had 148
Oh, wow.
in
Okay.
that first half marathon.
Got it.
Again in 2011, I again did a half marathon, which was again Tata Mumbai Marathon. And again I did 148.
Oh, okay. So
Surprisingly, after I finished the 2011 Tata Mumbai Marathon, I thought मजा नहीं आ रहा,
Okay.
ये half से अब नहीं होने
नहीं
वाला.
होगा.
I finished the race and I'm taking my medal and I'm not contented.
Huh.
I had much more in me to give me for some further distance.
Hmm. Hmm.
That day, at that finish line, I decided next when I run TMM, that time it used to be called Standard Chartered Mumbai
That's right.
Marathon,
SCMM.
SCMM. Next time when I run this SCMM, it has to be full.
Okay. That
So
was
this
2000.
decision was made in 2011
Okay.
at the finish line of SCMM.
And then did you go?
Without knowing anything what a full marathon entails, I was running just because I was enjoying running.
Right.
The running was giving me a state which no other activity was giving me.
Got it.
All this 2009, 2010, I was in a blissful state whenever I'm running.
So did you go then and run 2012?
2012, I did my first full marathon in SCMM. I'll tell you a journey about it.
I'm sure it
So-
taught you a lot.
It was my best full marathon till date.
Wow.
And I'll tell you how. So I got posted from Bombay to Delhi.
Okay.
I went to Delhi. I was in IIT. I was doing MTech course. I had time to practice. I never now the things I know about full marathon, half marathon, how you can optimize time and everything. I never knew
Right.
all that at my initial 3 years of running.
Yeah.
I was running just because I had to run, and it was giving me a pure sense of joy, which nothing else was giving me.
Hmm.
So that was the journey how it started. 2012 Mumbai Marathon. I came with an idea of running sub-4 marathon.
Okay.
My first marathon. I'm not aware क्या होने वाला है क्या नहीं होने वाला है.
देखा जाएगा.
I started, and they were pacers, and I crossed 4:30 pacer,
Okay.
and then I'm looking for a 4 hours pacer, and I was not finding him.
Right.
I had zero idea what does hitting a wall means and what you have to have a negative split, positive split. You have to conserve energy. It's a full marathon. There is a separate journey after 32 kilometers. I was not aware of any of this.
Gels. Super
Nothing,
shoes.
gels, nothing. I used to wear one Adidas shoes, which some Cushion 20, Adidas Cushion 20 series
Okay.
was my go-to shoes at that point of time.
Okay.
So I used to run. That was my favorite shoe at that point of time. That chase to look for a 4-hour pacer
Yeah.
finished at a finish line with me having a time of 3:30:31.
Wow.
My first full marathon.
Really?
Yes.
My goodness.
And you can imagine it is in Bombay with pedal route and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
I've practiced in Delhi. I've come here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a step of walk taken. So till last few years, if you take out my last 3 years of full marathon,
Yeah.
till few years back, that was my best run ever in an event.
Wow. What a journey. What a
So
journey.
that, and I say all this with feelings because I was totally into that running. मतलब अंदर से आता था कि अच्छा करना है and running है and ये है. So that was my journey.
Nice.
Then second again next year, then my TMM became the
Like a mecca. It's a annual. You're going for the marathon.
Full marathon was happening.
Okay.
Next year again I did 3:30.
Okay. That was 2013. 2013 is when I was the pacer for 145 bus in the half
marathon.
That's when we
Okay.
started 145.
Okay,
I
nice.
remember Lizzie was a 4 marathon pacer that year, I guess. Yeah. So maybe if this time you would have paid.
So then I would have found the 4 hours. Then again, so it has not been always 3:30, or it is not that every time I have improved.
Right,
Then in
right.
between I had to go for my C appointment. That was 16 and 17.
Okay.
So I dropped to 358.
Okay. Okay.
So 16 was 358, 17 was 352.
So it remained a marathon after that. After
Yes,
2012,
yes.
you continued to be in the marathon
Yes.
category.
In between, once I've done half marathon because I was sailing and then somehow that registration could not happen. So I had to do a half marathon because slots for marathon were not there, something like that.
Got it.
Otherwise, it has been a marathon. After that, I find my pure marathon has become my go-to event.
Got it. I have a few questions here. Let's stay here. So you played cricket and you played really well. You went to the armed force and very prestigious. Now you've been there. You moved to football. Then from there you moved to running. Of course, it just for someone who's a layperson would think, hey, he was gifted, he was enjoying, he started from where he started, and now he's been running. Look, 3:30 is something that is a dream for many people, right? For a long time, and they don't get there. I wanted to understand when you did your first 3:31 or so. Do you remember on the way drinking anything, eating anything? Did you have anything at all? Why I'm trying to get to is because it's important for people to focus on the basics. People to figure out that interest, that joy is a lot more important than placing our life around the super shoes and the
Absolutely.
gels and all of these things. So tell me about that, the training and the racing both.
So the training was, let me first tell you the joy part of it, and
Got
then
it.
once I finished, what was my first reaction?
Right.
So once you jump to a full marathon, so when I was doing this half marathon for 2 years, people around me were doing full marathons, and they're doing a pace of 4, 4:10, 4:15, 4:30. The good people, the good runners. Then I was like, sub 4 is a
Yeah.
sub 4 was a go-to timing for me
course.
for my first
Yeah.
full marathon. I did it in 3:30, and my first reaction is, "ये क्या हो गया?" It means now you have to maintain this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as a runner, you feel that it should not be a fluke and it should be a good run, and then maybe your body and everything. It is not only about that day.
Yeah.
It is about you on that day, and that you has to remain constant throughout all events.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my first reaction was 3:30. Now I have to maintain this. ये तो pressure वाली बात है. Now let's come back to the training. So training was the way I train now. At that point of time, I was pure raw.
Oh.
I didn't even have a GPS watch.
Right.
I had a Timex Ironman watch in which you can only start and see the time and finish and see the time.
Right.
All those paces, GPS and all those things were not there. I just, whenever I had time, I was going out for run during the day.
Okay.
That was the time I used to have time in the evening. So evening 1 hour I'm on the roads. And Saturday, Sundays for extended duration, say 1.5 to 2.5 hours, I'm running on the roads.
Just running.
Just running.
Right.
Without any specific plan, specific aim.
Whatever you feel, you do.
Whatever I was feeling, whatever the body was guiding me to do,
Yeah.
without much mind in it, I was going ahead and doing it. There was nothing to chase at that point of time. So this is my first full marathon journey, which is 10 years before this, and I'm not chasing anything in particular.
Yeah.
I was involved in a sports which is coming from my heart. It is giving me joy, and I was just in that zone.
Nice.
Nothing else was there.
Right.
Hydration, gel, I was not aware, and maybe at that point of time, many people in India would not be aware of specific gels or specific tablets or something during the run or something.
True.
We were only dependent on the hydration support which is being given en route the marathon. And I was just banking on that, and I would feel that, okay, I'm getting tired, let us take a sip of water, a bottle of water, carry it for a kilometer and then discard it. So I was just going by the pure feel of the body.
Yeah.
No specific target at the start line. Happy with whatever has been achieved at the finish line.
Yeah.
Was a runner at that point of time.
Nice. And I think that's the way to be, honestly. And
That is exactly the way to be.
And that's how you are even today, honestly. Whenever we
Absolutely.
talk about running, it's more about the bliss around being in that environment than the timing. I remember so many times we have met, we have not talked about our paces and times and training ever. It's just the enjoyment, the enjoyfulness around running is what
Absolutely.
matters, isn't it? Awesome. Now, you continued from there. There was a bit of hibernation phase, as you said. You went to 3:58. If we have to look at measure of success from timing point of view, and from there, now you recently finished the Boston Marathon, a great sub-3. But I want to get there. But I want to talk about the journey that you have had, right? You have a quite a challenging job, a responsible job. You spend significant amount of time in office, like most of us. How did you make time for running, and now how did you change anything in your running if you did?
So what transitioned when I got serious into running? So when I say serious as in now you have got an exposure. When I started, the exposure was not much. So many events were not happening. You were going by the feel of it. I still go by the feel of it, but serious as in now you started planning for events during a year. So you know that you will do 2 events, or you want to, now that you have tasted a certain time, you want to reduce it. People around you are reducing it. So then all those factors start creeping in, and in any runner's mind, and then in his mindset, and he wants to do well.
Yeah.
So first transformation which happened was I shifted my evening running block to morning running block, so that I was not dependent in the
Schedule
so
of the day.
there's no itchiness that
I have
okay,
to-
6:30, 7:30, 8:30 and I'm not able to go home. What about my run?
Yeah.
So this transition happened somewhere around 2017-18.
Okay.
Because I was there in some place and then I was not getting time. So I had to first shift that training block. Then before I leave for work, I have got all the time to myself. So then I'm at peace.
Yeah.
At least the training wise, body, mind, soul wise, I've got out my plan for the run and that has been executed. That is the first transformation which happened, and I believe that is a good way to go.
Yeah.
Second transformation, second change which I did, may not be transformation, I got rid of music exactly in 2019. So you can see what is happening. So in 2019, that initial part was pure joy. The pure joy remains. then you start complicating it.
Yeah.
You start complicating it by watch, then music, and then a day before the event you're trying to sing few songs, and those songs have to figure, and then if it is not happening you are restless whether it is charged, not charged, and then your morning you are saying charged hai nahi hai. One event, one ADHM, Airtel Delhi Half Marathon 2019, the music stopped in between. I just got rid of music. I decided never ever I'm using music. I believe
Yeah.
if a run has to be enjoyed, it has to be without music.
I agree. And I got done. By the way, I got away from this music thing as well around same time. There was I remember a day I went out, and my iPod stopped working
Yes.
on the way, and I was so restless.
Yes.
Not able to.
Your dependency on something which is external to your body becomes so much as a runner that it starts affecting you.
Yeah, then I chose, I said, I'm not going to use it again and I'll see what happens.
Yes.
And over a period of time, I felt it was so stupid of me to just be using and be dependent on music
Yes.
forever. Now I can enjoy myself a lot more. I can be in the present a lot
Yes.
more. Also, safety-wise, it's a lot better.
Exactly.
Right? In Indian roads,
Exactly.
vehicles come from everywhere. It's also a lot more important that way. So I totally agree with you.
Plus the zen feeling and the mindfulness which
Yeah.
your body is going through
Yeah.
without music is
Yeah.
you are actually deriving something out of the running.
Yeah, yeah.
Music is there's something in the background which you are trying to match to, and maybe it will help you run better.
Yeah.
But then that is only in your mind.
Yeah.
Once the runner remains the same.
Yes.
If you get rid of music, you'll come to your certain pace within no time.
I agree. And then what else other than these two things in terms of training?
In between, there is a shift which happened to ultramarathon. So
Okay.
we'll talk about it later.
Oh, I didn't know this part.
We'll spend okay. Let's cover the ultramarathon now.
Right. Okay.
So this 2017-18, I was living this journey wherein I got drawn to full marathon. So 2018, I wanted to do La Ultra.
Okay.
Leh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is a qualification for Dhanolti, that there is a 76 kilometer you have to do in sub 11 to qualify. So I went for that. I qualified. Somehow I was not able to go for La Ultra because of work commitment. So that got stopped. Then I decided in December 2018 to do my first stadium run of 12 hours
Okay.
with a simple thing. And it was in Delhi,
Right.
peak cold, with a simple thing in mind कि किसी तरह 100 किलोमीटर हो जाए.
Right.
So because you are charting new territories, you
Yeah,
have done
yeah.
full marathon,
Yeah.
you're doing good. 3:30 was a very good time at that point of time, and then you want to venture into this thing called ultra marathon. I did that, and somehow it became 101.097 kilometers, and I was extremely happy. And from there, I started liking ultra marathon. Why ultra marathon? Because somehow it took the pressure of timing away. It became more about the distance. So moment you take out few factors away from your running, your attachment to the running starts becoming more. You start to enjoy more during your
Yeah, it's far
runs, and then you're not thinking too many things. You're not checking your watch all the time. So that happened. Then I came to Mumbai again in 2019. I did one Mumbai Ultra, which was 12 hours Ultra. I came third in that. Then lockdown 2020. I did one ultra marathon at home. This was Comrades 2020. Because of lockdown, the Comrades was not happening, and they had this Comrades Legends 2020.
Okay.
I registered. How can you do a 90 kilometer when there is lockdown?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was a similar kind of apartment. I moved all the furnitures and I created a 10 to 12 meter track, and I did 90 kilometers in that.
You serious?
9,000 reps of those 10 meters. 9,000 reps. I've written about it. 9,000 reps.
Wow.
If you enjoy running, and then if you want to run and you're not getting
Yeah.
to run, so you create a situation around it and somehow make yourself run.
Yeah.
So there was time in lockdown I was running at home, half marathons at home every Sunday. 21, 21, 21. I've done 21 at home in this much space.
Okay.
And then the idea clicked that I think if I can do 21 on Sundays, I can do 90. So let us register for this. Because there was not in any way it was possible that I can do 90 kilometers, say 10, 12 hours outside
Yeah.
on roads during the lockdown.
Yeah.
And you won't believe I did it in sub 9 and everything. And I was like, what happened? There were neighbors who came to see whether I'm actually doing that run or not. And then I did 2 more track runs. I did border 100. So somehow that ultra running
Yeah.
improved my mileage.
Understood.
So if you see what has happened, so I was started with half, then touched the 330 of full, went into ultra, and that ultra phase has somehow improved my full marathon. So this sudden transition, so pre-lockdown, when I did my last TMM, it was 319.
Okay.
That was my best, and I thought I'm crafted for 319 because you are hitting PBs at the age of 39, 40 at that point of time. So you're feeling 319 se acha kya hi hoga? And then parallelly there's a ultra marathon in which you're deriving much more joy, and then doing 100 kilometers, and 100 is such a figure that you really like it. 100 kilometers kar rahe hain, so it's a good event. But that process has in some way improved my full marathon. Maybe conditioning, maybe body-wise, mind-wise. Of very late, I came to know there's something called World Marathon Majors and there's something called Boston Qualifier. I was not aware of all this.
Really?
I was not aware.
Okay.
Had you asked me 5 years ago, I would have said, what is Boston? What is a Boston Qualifier? What is a World Marathon Major? I have come to know of all these terms only in last 4 years. And then there's something called BQ. And then I was at 319. And then from there, that you say na, that keeda of can we do this? Is it possible to venture into that territory? Then specifically it started. I had given myself 2 years to come into Sub-3. I had promised it to one of my friends in Navy who was retired, and I told him we were doing Go Ironman, and he was asking, sir, I think you can do it and all those things. And so I said, ठीक है, now that we have spoken about it, it was October. I told him, इस TMM में तो नहीं होगा, but next TMM, I'm promising you I'll do Sub-3.
Okay.
I had made a promise to him.
Okay. This was 2022.
This was 2022.
Right. October
2022, Go Ironman.
Got
and
it.
I told him TMM 24, I'll touch Sub-3. Surprisingly, I touched Sub-3.
Nice.
TMM 23 within 5 months.
Okay.
So it did not have to wait.
Got
One
it.
more
From
year.
319
From
to
319
to Sub-3.
this lockdown. So then 319 was just before lockdown. Entire lockdown, all these practices, all these heavy mileage runs. I participated in one 555 kilometer running expedition, which was Mahanavy Connect. It was in Jan 2020. So we did, there was a tri-dimensional event, sailing, running, cycling. I was part of the running team. 5 days we did. So all this heavy mileage coupled with the right frame of mind was developing me into a better runner during the lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I can do a 90 kilometer at home, you can imagine that how much the mind is getting conditioned to achieve something which it has decided.
True.
And suddenly one event after the lockdown, I hit 254.
Wow. And now you have to now unravel a lot more things. Look, the numbers that you told, the achievements that you talked about are these are not just simply achievable. They can be at macro level over a period of time, but it's a difficult feat to achieve, right? We think of it and we shiver at times at 555 really? Ironman really doesn't happen this easily. Of course, there are basic principles that we follow of being consistent, of enjoying, of really being honest to our efforts.
Yes.
What were some of the things that worked for you? Because listening to this, I do not want people to just take a 555 challenge and just go to
absolutely.
ultra and do it. But what they should take away is what were some of the things that you did in a very mundane way, in a very boring way, over and again, right? Regardless how much we say we enjoy it, there is a point when we suffer. There is a point that thing comes, and at times, I question as well, why did I even sign up for this? How was it for you?
So I recently wrote about this. So there are 3 factors which I consider are most important, be it any activity. And I'm not saying only for running.
Yeah.
You can find your Zen mode in some other activity, but then these 3 factors may remain the same.
Sure.
First is consistency. If you have been consistent, you have a better edge of overshadowing or achieving something more compared to a person who is far more talented. So I feel consistency is greater than talent. Both have their own virtues.
Yeah.
Talent is short term. If you have been consistent, it is long term. And in any activity, we want to be long term. So I have been consistent for last 2010 to 2024. Consistency, you can't take it away from me. I myself feel I'm not talented, but it is consistency which is giving me whatever I am achieving little bit here and there. So that is the most important factor.
Help me understand, what do you mean by being consistent?
So consistency is life happens to you. Life will keep happening to you. You have to take out time and make things happen for you.
This is very important because this is exactly where I wanted to get to is life can't revolve around excuses.
Absolutely.
Right? We have to make time for what's important for us.
So when I was doing a ship tenure, there was a captain of that ship at that point of time. So he had a simple thing. You want to do it, you have to create time. Time is there with everyone.
Yeah.
If you have to follow a certain thing, follow your passion, follow anything which is not there in the routine part of the day.
Yeah.
You have to create time for yourself to be dedicated to that activity. So if you are consistent, you will create time, and that will help you in a long run. So that is how. So consistency means anything, and it is not specifically to running. If somebody wants to play Ludo,
Yeah.
he can play Ludo consistently, he will improve in it.
Yeah, yeah. Any craft you want to be good at.
We tend to say everything about running, okay, ये तो दौड़ता है तो ऐसे बोल रहा है, ऐसा नहीं है. Any activity, if you are chess player, you be consistent, play chess every day, take out one hour in a day. It will help you improve. Any activity. Second is this, somehow my affinity to the number 100.
Okay.
So one fine day I decided, running में मजा तो आ ही रहा है, why not do a weekly mileage of 100 kilometers. That was, and it is just a small goal to keep you going.
Not at all small.
I was thinking 100 करेंगे मजा आएगा, हर वीक में 100 करेंगे, कितने लोग ही करते हैं, and not, you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
Because you feel it is achievable.
Yeah.
So there is the beauty of that Goldilocks rule. Na? Goldilocks rule matlab you know you can do it. You're not keeping it at someone in which you are struggling hard to get it.
Whatever is your 100.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody's 100 can be different.
I agree.
So let's put it at X.
Yeah.
So I decided a X, which
Is
was
that-
my Goldilocks zone. I don't have to struggle too hard to be there, or it won't come that easily or that much hard. I had this X figure in my mind, and week in, I was doing this. I'm not saying I did it 100% of the weeks, but then minimum 60 to 70% of the weeks, depending on whatever situation I am in, I have achieved it.
When you started this, how long ago?
100 started 3 years back, 3 to 3.5 years back. So before that, what I started with the number of miles in the year, which was, then again I said, maza nahi aa raha. The way it happened with half marathon, I started with half marathon, I finished half marathon and TMM, and I said, maza nahi aaya, 42 karna hai. So that started with number of miles, that suppose it was 2016, so 2016 miles I have to do.
Okay.
For last 5 years, I've altered it. It has become twice the number of year. So like last year, if it was 2023, so I've definitely done more than 4046 kilometers.
Got it.
Definitely.
In kilometers. Right.
So then again, it is my zone in which I feel comfortable and it feels nice to do it. Chasing a certain number X, became 3 years back and 3-4 years back, and I've been living up to that even today.
Wow.
Even today.
Yeah, I see your post and
I tested my limits only 4 weeks before the Boston race. I just wanted to see kitna ja raha hai before the tapering.
Yeah.
So I just went into X plus something more.
more.
That gives me my zone. So that is the idea of saying this is, so consistency coupled with a certain aim.
Yeah.
Long term, but then you have to split it into pieces. So short term keeps adding it in the long term. So every week you are achieving, you don't come to know.
Yeah.
You are thinking 70 kiya, 80 kiya, 60 kiya, 50 kiya. Related over time, say 1 year, you have done 3,000 kilometers, 4,000 kilometers,
True.
which in a way has built you,
Yeah. Yeah.
which we
Very
don't
well.
realize. Our human mind is already seeing the result first. So they are like, nahi hoga, ye nahi hoga. Break it into small pieces, keep doing it, keep that weekly mileage going. I believe at the end of the year, you are a far better runner what you started in January. So that is point number 2.
Nice.
And point number 3 is again atomic habits, which I have said, what happens? So where do people...
Did you read the book and then?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll tell you one more thing. So I was mentioning that there was a captain of the ship who told me that create time. He was reading a book at that point of time. I had not read it. And he showed me that graph and he said, this is your journey. He said it to me in 2019. I read the book in 2022. By that time, I was implementing it without
really
knowing it,
yeah.
being blissfully unaware what is happening. And I was in that plateau. I was there. But then the beauty is, if you are liking running, if running is giving you that joy, you're not chasing something specific. So there's nothing called value of disappointment. It is only that zone in which you are there. That disappointing is so that you're not seeing some result or something. You keep doing your activity, keep doing your X miles week by week. Tell me anyone who has done his decided X miles after 2 years if he's not a good runner or not. He is definitely far improved runner if he has been consistent, if he has done his pre-decided miles, which is somewhere his Goldilocks zone.
Yeah.
You can't have it too easy, you can't have it too hard, just average. You have to become a phenomenally good runner at the end of 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And those 2-3 years are that valley of disappointment,
Yeah.
that plateau zone in which you feel nothing is happening.
Yeah.
It's only you feel nothing is happening.
Yeah, but you have to keep at it. Yeah.
You have to be at it. So there comes a point number 1, consistency. So you've done consistency, you've done this. After 2 years, 3 years, whatever is the time, depending on different body aspects of mind and body of different runner, you are destined to reach a tipping point in which you will be giving your PBs, irrespective of age. I am a definition of that, irrespective of age.
Correct.
So these are the 3 factors I feel. Don't complicate it. Keep it simple. Follow these 3-4 simple facts. Be at it consistently without losing your composure. I think you are any runner, any sports person is destined to shine.
So good and so well put. I think it's what you said is exactly how it is, right? Be at it for long enough time.
Yes.
It will come about. It will happen. I guess the points that you talked about are the building blocks for almost everything that you
Yes.
want to be good at, isn't it? Like almost every speaker I have spoken with talks about the value of consistency for a long period of time, right? And in that process, the value of disappointment that you talked about, and when you start to be indecisive, start to question everything, is that's the time when you have to keep your grit and just be
Yes, that is the time the mind has to tell you, you started it, just keep going, just keep
Lage raho,
going,
bhai.
just keep going, lage raho.
Yeah. Don't give up. And like the Atomic Habits, what you talked about, and possibly one of the best books I have ever read, and also very easy to understand.
Yes.
I guess books are nothing but a reflection of journey of successful people, and it's just experiences we are describing. So what you were doing, even though your captain told in 2019 and 2022 you read the book, we do that, and the common those threads are similar anyway.
Exactly.
Right? And that's when we see it in the books, we're like, oh, this is exactly what you're doing.
Exactly. We are
Right.
blissfully unaware and we are there in the motion,
Yeah.
doing it day in, day out. It is just that somebody has quantified it.
True.
And now you can relate to it.
Yeah.
So
And
some person who's already doing that is relating to it. Some person who wants to do it is deriving some motivation from it.
I agree, and that validation is very important and motivating
Yes.
as well. Now, these were the macro points. Now, from a training point of view, if I were to ask, what do you think you were doing or changing? I understood that you were putting in the mileage that requires large aerobic base, extremely important. But to get faster, it also requires race specific training. What were you creating your own plans? Were you playing with the paces? Were you playing with the intensities? What were you doing?
The way I've understood runs and running as a physiological and psychological thing with myself, I keep tweaking some things to keep it going. So I'm a firm believer that it's a pyramid. The maximum base of the pyramid has to be aerobic base. If a runner has to improve, that pyramid, that aerobic base has to be absolutely uncompromisable. You can't compromise on aerobic. Build it up, be a strong runner, then add the final layers to it. So what we do, because we have got short-term goals and we have signed up for a marathon and within a year we want to hit a certain PB, certain PRs, I personally feel we complicate it. The idea is it's a layered approach. It has to be a layered approach. The basic layer is build up a strong aerobic base. You may take 2 years, 3 years to have your PB, but then not at the cost of aerobic base. So that has been my benchmark. Once you feel confident, yes, now I've got a certain amount of stability. Now I've understood my body. Just tell me to run and I can run 30, 40, whatever heat, this, that, EVO is all done. Now can we tweak? Can we optimize it? Then comes the layers of other everything you say. So then I started adding one track session. So there has been a time in which 2 years ago I've done 30 days only track, 10K at all tempo runs, just to see how the body responds.
Yeah.
So those were the time when my X was not met in a certain week, but then I was playing with something else just to understand my body. So that helped. So then so you're now focusing for a short term in anaerobic condition. So that is also adding. Then I started putting in weekly one tempo run. Even today I do only one tempo run a week, which I have become consistent now. 2 years before I have done 0 tempo. So without any tempo, without any complications, only with the aerobic, I was at 319. The journey from 319 to sub-3 and all those things came with little bit of addition of all these factors. So for a runner who's starting or who is at a zone in which he has to first come to a certain optimization, it has to come, I feel, only with aerobic mileage.
Understood.
Not to complicate it, keep it simple, build up your aerobic mileage, don't get perturbed by somebody else doing this, somebody else doing that, too many training plans. Be in your zone, keep building your aerobic mileage.
Yeah.
You will improve your PRs by certain time. Then comes a stagnation. Okay, now maybe aerobic mileage is not helping, but it's not a short process.
Yeah.
It's a process of 2-3 years for you to optimize yourself based only in aerobic conditioning.
Yeah.
Then is the time, because what has happened in these 3 years, you become a better runner.
Yeah.
Your body can handle experiments better than what could have before, in between those 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
You are less prone to injury.
Yeah.
Then you can experiment. Add in tempo. All that terms are there. It is now widely available.
Yeah.
It was not such the case 5-6 years ahead.
Yeah.
So then you do a track session, you add a speed workout, depending on how you are feeling. Or you do, say, suppose you're doing a Sunday long run, make in between 4-5 kilometers, make it faster compared to the other kilometers. Whatever mind and body is telling you, you can keep it simple.
Right.
So there were two approaches to it. One is going by a rigid frame of whatever you have decided. Second is going by how your body feels. Both are correct, but depending on what time and what stage of your career you are experimenting with it. Initial part, initial build up, initial 80% of consolidation as a runner has to happen with whatever your mind and body is telling. Now, in order to optimize those last 10, 12, 15%, in order to hit those sub-3s and everything, you have to come with certain conditioning which can be routine based. Which you have to go, even if body is not telling you, okay, let me just give it a try.
Yeah.
Let me still go and do it. Then it is optimization. But then the basic has to be going by the feel and mind and body. Build up your aerobic base, be a better runner, and then optimize it.
What were you also at any of these stages as you continued to build your aerobic base? Did you see or feel that you were going to get injured or any of that was coming? Did you then back off? Why I'm saying is self-realization to these situations is so important, and people should just not think that it's going to be one type of day all the time.
Because of the manner in which I have run from 2010, without having any, without taking any formal this thing from someone that, okay, you have to do this, you have to do this. If you have gone just by mind and body, building up aerobic base for first 10 years of my career, 10 years. I told you that only last 3 years I am tweaking.
Yeah.
Those 10 years of building only the aerobic mileage, listening to body and mind has enabled me to be injury free.
Got it.
Minor pains here and there and some ankle and somewhere it would last for 5-7 days. Just go easy on those days or take a week off and then you are good to go. But then apart from that, touch wood, by the grace of God, 0. And I give it because of the aerobic mileage. So that is why if you have to take one gist, it has to be keep going at the pace which is comfortable and keep going. Build up that base. It will give you the longevity in running. At the cost of aerobic base, you do anything. You may have a result, but it will be short term. You are prone for injury. You are prone to get affected in some manner. Keep building this base. Your PRs are waiting maybe 2 years down the line. But then those 2 years will make you a runner, which will make you a runner even at 50, 60, 70, 80.
Totally.
It is easy. There are many runners today who are running amazing, but then they may not be running this way at 50, 60, 70, 80.
True.
So you have to take that call. And I personally feel that call of longevity in running has to be the
for sure.
This thing to go to.
We are in it for the long term for sure.
And if you have to remain injury free, just keep going. Slowly, slow progress. Results are waiting. Same plateau.
Yeah. From a strength training perspective or physiotherapy, massages, these points I'm bringing in because people are waiting to hear about these, right? Did you do any of that?
So if I tell you, will you believe me?
Yes.
I have taken only 2 full body massages till date.
Okay.
So because I thought, let's see, just to
understand
and just to relax my body before events in which I had decided that I have to hit a PR. So I wanted my body to be in good zone. Strength training, only freestyle, nothing specific. I'm not the person who's hitting the gym.
Right.
So I've missed out a phase in which initial 2 years of my service I was only a gym goer. So I was बस लोहा उठा रहा था मैं मेरे life में और कुछ नहीं था सुबह शाम. But then from there I graduated to running. I don't visit gyms. Freestyle strength training, yes, little bit here and there depending on how much time I have. Not at the cost of running or aerobic base. I'm definitely sure that it needs to be done. I know it needs to be done. But then now that if I have time going ahead, it is going to become part of my curriculum in any way.
Yeah.
The way I think I'm there to stay.
Got it.
For a long time in running.
Right.
So presently I'm in a stage where I'm peeling only the first layer. So in my mind, there are many other factors I want to achieve.
Yeah.
So these second layer, third layer, fourth layer will getting added as I go ahead.
Yeah. No, and makes a lot of sense. And I think one of the things I'm taking away from here is whatever is your primary sport, whatever is the primary objective, try to be at it for the longest time.
Yes.
If you have energy and time left, then prioritize other things.
Absolutely. So there may be people who will have time to do that. So if you have time and you're not doing it, it is not done.
Yeah.
If you don't have time, you're trying to manage 1 hour, 2 hours in the middle of all whatever is your work or some routine or some commitment.
Yeah.
So maybe 80-20, 90-10, 60-40, depending on what stage and what you are planning.
Yeah.
So keep the chunk going and little bit adding.
Keep sprinkling.
जैसे वो तड़का लगाना बोलते हैं वो सब डालते रहो so that वो बढ़िया बनेगा taste.
Taste अच्छा आएगा. From taste I'm now moving to nutrition. Have you been a mindful eater? Have you been someone who focuses around nutritional intake as key component of your running performances?
I'm reading about nutrition. I am self-aware about nutrition.
Action stage पे भी नहीं आए.
Yes. So I have not come at the action stage. So
Right.
why I say this? Because I know that I have to do it.
Yeah.
I know I have to do it. But then, as I said, I am personally feeling that I'm in for a long haul. I want to continue this running journey for much more ahead. I want to keep it simple. So जब तक है अभी body साथ दे रहा है with whatever I'm doing, and I am whatever is my goal for that year or for that event, and I'm achieving it. I don't want to complicate it right now. Let my body ask for something.
I'll give it.
Then definitely I'll have to give it.
Yeah.
I can't do by not giving it.
Yeah.
But then as of now, I'm feeling everything is going the way it should be going, without complicating it, keeping it simple. I have zero supplements. If you ask me, I'm taking 3 protein powders a week. That's it. After my long runs, and whatever cod liver oil, 2 tablets at the end of the day is only supplement I'm taking as of now. I know it is required. I need to get a certain test done. I need to find the deficiencies, take all those things. Maybe it will help me becoming a better runner. I will do it, but I feel now is not the time.
Not the time.
I don't want to overcomplicate it. Let's keep it simple till the time it is going. Maybe I'll need it.
Yeah.
2 years, 3 years, maybe tomorrow, but then not now.
Yeah.
So whenever my body asks for it, I'll definitely give it.
Superb. Look, I love the honest answers because that's how it should be. Why to fabricate it? Now, you started from where you started. You have gotten to where most of us amateur runners will dream to get to. If we were to look at success metric being the time that you achieve in a marathon, for example. From your point of view, what's your next goal? What are you thinking where you want to be if you want to disclose?
So the first goal is to keep this journey of running going.
Nice.
And when I say this, I say it with all my,
you
the
mean
way I feel about running.
Yeah.
So when I never thought I'll do a sub-3 in 2023, it happened. So I feel timing or the goal is a
Just byproduct.
is a reaction. It's not an action.
Yeah.
So most of the runners, what they do, they have already thought, because ye karna, and then go and just get it done. You keep doing your actions. That actions is just be at it, keep grinding one day at a time. The reactions will come. So if you ask me my goal, be at it one day at a time. And in that process, keep achieving your PRs.
Yeah.
Dhire. It is like it will give you, if you have been consistent, it will come your way. Don't chase it.
Yeah.
And when it comes, relish it, optimize it, again, keep
Move
going,
forward.
relish it, optimize it, keep going, keep this journey going. Goal, if you ask me now, yes, obviously a sub 250 has to be a goal. Now that I've tasted Boston and world marathon majors and aisa kuch hota hai, I've come to know very late in life. So second goal is to do all world marathon majors, do it in a good timing, which I feel contented. Keep this running journey going. Maybe 10-12 years down the line, get running as a full-time thing after my present career stint gets over, and maybe get into coaching, do a certain certification courses, and give this joy, which I feel at least put it in the open, and people who grab it, and if I can help the community in that way, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to become a running coach in future. Not now, but in future.
Nice.
So these are the smaller goals which I've kept for myself.
Nice. I think, look, the way you put it, it's so important for people to understand that. As I asked you, what's your next running goal? You didn't say a time, because that's just a metric. And I always also believe that if you change the success metric, it's a lot more joyful.
Absolutely.
Right? Why to keep only time as a metric? Because even if you keep it, it's only possibly going to lead to disappointment, because you'll chase it and you'll get so frustrated trying to chase it. You'll just leave the entire enjoyment. I have seen people, they travel the world to do the races. They will not meet anyone. They'll be lying in the room. They'll be trying to do everything to the T, and what will end up happening, they're just so stressed out. They'll not get sleep previous night, and that also spoils their race. I guess keeping it very macro, keeping it very qualitative, and figure out how it will go, right?
Absolutely.
It's just
give your best on that day, whatever is the outcome.
Yeah.
The outcome, so if the outcome is already written, it is going to be same.
Yeah.
Why do you want to lose the process and enjoyment in that outcome?
I agree.
So if your body is destined to do a sub 3, it will happen.
Yeah.
But then if you keep thinking about sub 3, maybe you'll lose the process of enjoying that.
Yeah, you'll just not enjoy it. Yeah, no, totally agree. And I hope and I wish our listeners, they have similar approach over a period of time. Also, I'm sure in the process you'll keep achieving the PRs that we talked about. I also think, yeah, whenever you decide to become a coach, you will be one of the coolest coaches for sure.
Thank you. There's still some time to go, but
Right?
then that
Yeah,
will
no,
definitely
for
happen.
sure. And look, everything that you do and everything that we believe in is long term anyway, right? So
Yes.
marathoners are in it for long
Long
term
term.
anyway, right? Honestly, I've been running now for 25 years, and
Awesome.
and it just feels you're just getting started,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Every morning just feels like when you wear your shoes, you feel so happy that you're getting to go out. I guess
Yes.
if you are that lucky that you have an opportunity to get out of the door, go get in that mileage. Everything else is a byproduct.
Absolutely.
Before we go, one of the things that I have derived from this conversation, that is, you love reading and you love learning, you love to express. Our listeners also, they love to learn. What would you suggest? What should they learn from?
So I was expecting this question. So it is only in the last when I've started understanding running, and then you have so much literature there and everything. So last 2-3 years I have got extensively into literature of running, and I actually wanted to suggest 2 books to anybody who's taking running. And the first one is Born to Run Part 1 by Christopher McDougall.
Yeah, Chris McDowell.
And the second is The Lost Art of Running by Shane Benzie. These 2 books have helped me, and I'm very sure it will. If people should give it a try, and if it helps, maybe there's something in it for them. The first book is about running as an emotion,
Yeah.
and the second book is about running as a motion. So this is how I put my journey of running, and these 2 books will definitely. There has to be a must read for every runner. Maybe a casual read, but then start thinking how you can optimize your mind and body. Apart from the body, mind is also important. At the start line, it is your mind which is driving you to conquer that day. Wishing all the runners all the best, and may they keep achieving their PRs and take the joy of running in that process.
Awesome. I definitely will also provide the link of both the books in the show notes so that listeners can go and buy if they want to. Of course, it must be available online. The first book, I'm sure everybody has heard of,
Yes.
and the second book as well. We'll provide the details. And after listening to the entire conversation, I was only thinking that what this guy must be reading, what this guy must be learning from, and good. Now we have one of the secrets that.
So I spend, so if Saturday, Sunday, I'm 1.5 to 2 hours, I'm either on the net or on the YouTube, seeing running, seeing motions, seeing good athletes who are running, or reading about it.
Right.
So I take out 1.5 hours in a weekend. So that is my ritual that I have to do.
So cool. Thank you so much. Awesome.
Thank
you for all the wisdom, and good luck with your great future in running and otherwise as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.